Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, please take the stand? Miss Lana Sky, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. It's not like it's stopped anyone else before from telling the truth, huh? Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Oh, she's with us. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with the Gants. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gants. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated this evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. Fuck off, Lana. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Oh my god. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing in capital offense. Of course I'm sure. Lana, you idiot. If this is true, then that means Chief Gant had nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiflingly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. Defense may now begin its cross-examination. I worked alongside Gant for years. No truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated this evidence 2 years ago by myself. Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She won't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. That's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago. When I found the prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. A broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? He should have been stuck on the armor. Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. Reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasizing all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change the statements. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in this trouble. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wounds, then moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife, then you moved the body. But why? Why would you do that? You love Mr. Nudgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but I thought I'd ask for the sake of others. When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? Is where you deduced it. And by chance, it was by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. So I will explain this in more detail. The reason this guy moved the body. And the piece of the jar that shattered during the events during my plan. You mean this jar right here? Miss Guy, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that's true, so where to begin? If you expose now, the past 2 years of your life will have been useless. Even so, I am compelled to bring everyone's attention. A significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony. You testified, and I quote, "Piece of the jar that shattered during the events during my plan." That's right. You have a problem with that? It's simple. A simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on the jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecution must have written it in its final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not have yet been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on the shattered jar. Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and this bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together information to arrive at the truth. Very well, witness may now continue your testimony. You gonna fucking tell us the truth this time, huh? Huh? I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. It was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Why are you being so difficult? Dark room, you're safe with the blood. It's large, so I'm sure I got them all. I believe this jar conceals the truth even you were unaware of. We found the final piece of the jar in Chief Gant's safe. In Chief's safe? But how, were you just not here before, when he was here? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about the final piece. There was still blood on it. Witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off them. Yes, which leaves us with the only explanation. On the night of Prosecutor Marshall were murdered, you were not the first one to show up at the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. But can the defendant have simply missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe it? Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, there's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying that the person was Chief Gan at the time he was looking for dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar? The question is if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer that? Even the judge is doing it now. Great. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Name Gan arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid the one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication. Why would Chief Gan do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? Discovering the scene, Lana Sky believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gan's aid. Lending her aid, Gan helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and here's the reason. Reason why Miss Sky became Chief's puppet. Whoa, she bit her thumb. I then did it on my own. Stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore, for my sake. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies. Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. What the fuck, Judge? Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gan's trap? Something wrong, Mr. Wright. Lana, maybe right after all. What do you mean, Wright? Yeah, so you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Sky, please testify once more. If evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of the prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. She didn't actually do it. I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. This guy, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. Cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. I'll testify about what I really saw. Finally. Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on the suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. Had Chief Gan help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armored sword. You're the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. Why? I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. To me. It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. I don't remember seeing a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright, please present this picture. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? Let's check the evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. wrong one. Alright. Open it up. Hey, there's a picture here. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. That's because I contacted the criminal affairs only after I rearranged the scene. Mr. Wright, that piece cut from his vest, could that be the cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe? What's this? Yep. It's handprints. That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whosever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer. But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turned all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled. What the fuck? Oh, look who's fucking back again. Come now, gee, this is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gantz, what now? You want to make me out as a bad guy too? And so I'd like to put a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. Here, you decline testimony. That means you forfeit your right to make statements of any sorts. This must be the risk the judge was talking about. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Ah, so what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all that talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't, but someone does. Then what's your excuse, righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as a murderer. If I have any more evidence, present it now. Anything, it'll be at one peering before the Board of Inquiries. Found Chief Gant's safe. Emma's guy's prints. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. That kind of already happened with a picture, right? Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case and trial. What do I do now? I'd better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Nah. You know, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie. Chief Gantz, you opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. Conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it, and that's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gantz? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. see the victim's vest. Notice anything odd about the chest area? Looks like part of it's been cut off for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? That means you, the chief of police, concealing evidence, going beyond be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as a murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that's when she saw the scene she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Guy. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Darko convicted. When we rearranged the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. I did this before Lana arrived at the scene. You mean those items in your safe? Why? For insurance, of course. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder the girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar of fragments? I hid the most legible part of the name here, of Emmett's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if he had fabricated all the evidence, let's say he didn't fabricate the message on the jar too. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Wright, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gantz, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it, I didn't have to do that, being chief and all, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Wright. You should have shown it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. I do have evidence to present now. Alright, then let's see the conclusive evidence. Evidence that shows you actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Yes, at last you finally brought it into the open. There's a handprint on it. Your Honor, the prosecution requests to be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. The handprint on that leather must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean cannot have been forged? It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. You're slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. Think about it. Righto had all this time to present this evidence, yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Do you really know? Yep. Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. Yeah, the person whom these fingerprints belong to are... Emma Sky. What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma, but why? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, you're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true, tragic but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you monster? This guy, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. This guy is not over yet. I said this trial isn't over yet. I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence that my friend is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter, cat out your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer. Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. What's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you asked? It was Emma Sky, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. Contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, the piece of cloth. What could it possibly contradict? You're trying to reign ends here. Behold the piece of evidence that contradicts the cloth. Yep. What exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Guy took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? His shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. That piece of cloth, completely clean. There's no blood on it. Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutors aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could have it been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor sword? To make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death. Said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. Then he broke the jar on purpose to leave behind a clue. To make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago. Personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? The very act of creating insurance. You prove that you're the actual murderer. Oof. Got him. It's finished. Oh my goodness. Oh ho, hey. I like this one too. That was close, Wright. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean I refute his allegations? You see, the piece of cloth is illegal evidence.